Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Dark Magician deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely nostalgic deck that I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in this build for you guys, even including the toy engine in this build. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Dark Magician. Dark Magician is definitely a 2-of in the build because it's the ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense, and it's so powerful to be able to use as a combo piece in this build to help you step into Red Eye's Dark Dragoon and all sorts of other awesome boss monsters. We then play a single copy of Dark Magician Girl. Dark Magician Girl is also an extremely nostalgic card that we're going to use to step into the Dark Magicians so that we can also resolve the effect of the Dark Magicians that if it does get destroyed, you can special summon out Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl from basically anywhere, which is awesome to be able to just instantly get 2 awesome boss monsters out on the field. We then play a single copy of Paladinium Oracle Mahad. Paladinium Oracle Mahad is such a powerful card, and I cannot tell you guys how many times I've top decked this card to win. It has a really cool effect that when you draw this card, you can reveal it and special summon it from your hand, and if it battles a dark monster, this card goes to 5,000 attack points during the damage calculation only. And if this card is destroyed battle by card effect, you get to special summon a Dark Magician from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is awesome to be able to instantly replace this card with a copy of the original Dark Magician. We then play a single copy of Apprentice Illusion Magician. Apprentice is definitely a 1-of in the build, because this card lets you discard a card to special summon this card from your hand, and then searches out a Dark Magician from your deck to your hand, and also this card has the ability, if your Dark Spellcaster monster battles, you can actually tribute this card from your hand or your side of the field to be able to instantly boost that monster up by 2,000 attack and defense points during damage calculation only. I love the fact that you can just send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to boost up one of your Dark Spellcaster monster's attack points, which is so powerful to be able to do, especially when you use it with your copy of your Dark Magician to boost it up to 4,500 attack points to match a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. We can play a single copy of Timaeus the United Dragon. Timaeus is so cool to be able to play in the deck because this card is basically a walking polymerization for the build, helping you use this card plus Dark Magician to step into Red Eye's Dark Dragoon, which is such a powerful combo. This card is super easy to summon by just sending a Spellcaster monster or a spell trap card that mentions Dark Magician from your hand or face or on the field to the graveyard. You can special summon this card from your hand, then it's a walking polymerization. We made 2 copies of Illusion of Chaos. Illusion of Chaos is definitely a 2-of in the build, as we do play Preparation of Rites to be able to search it out from our deck to our hand. This card is very easy to get to, but it's awesome in the deck because it helps you search out your copy of Magician Souls, which is one of the most powerful cards in the entire build because we're playing the toy engine in this deck. This card has the ability that you can basically reveal this card in your hand to add a Dark Magician or a non-ritual monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand, then plays a card from your hand on top of the deck, usually which is going to be Illusion of Chaos that you're going to put back on the top of the deck with this card's effect. We then play 3 copies of Magician Souls. Magician Souls is one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck. This card is amazing because it has the ability you can send up to 2 spells and traps from your hand or field to the graveyard to draw that many cards. And since our copy of our Toy Soldier and our copy of Toy Tank set themselves to our side of the field as spells, it's amazing to be able to use them with their copy of Magician Souls to get them in the graveyard, draw 2 cards, and then special summon them both back to our side of the field, getting their effects to go off, which is absolutely amazing. This card is also super easy to summon out to your side of the field because if this card's in the hand, you just send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard to either special summon this card or send to the graveyard to summon out Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from the graveyard, which is super easy to do. Usually you want to send your copy of Dark Magician to the graveyard so that you can make it live in the graveyard so you can bring it back later. We then play 2 copies of Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod is really good in the deck, but you only need 2 copies of this card. It has a great effect that when it's normal summon, you get to add a spell or trap card from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the card Dark Magician in its text, which is an amazing effect to instantly grab the exact card that you need. We then played 2 copies of Toy Soldier. Toy Soldier is really good in the deck as a 2-of, but I really like playing 2 copies of this card in the build, as you can set this card from your hand in your spell and trap card zone as a spell card, and if this set card in the spell and trap card zone is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card, which your copy of Toy Tank actually shares the exact same effect. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can add a toy box from your deck to your hand, or if you control toy box, you can actually add a level 4 light monster instead, which I have some awesome targets in this deck that you can actually search off this card's effect. And then a single copy of Toy Tank. Toy Tank is really good to be able to play in the deck as well, as this card can also set itself to your spell and trap card zone, just like your copy of Toy Soldier. And this card is a great effect that you can actually special summon this card if it's sent to the graveyard from the spell and trap card zone, and has the ability to contribute this card to special summon a level 6 or lower monster from your hand, or if you control Toy Box, you can special summon a level 6 or lower monster from the grave instead, which is a really powerful effect, as we have some awesome targets you can bring back with this card's effect. We then play a single copy of Blazing Cartesia. Blazing Cartesia is a level 4 light monster. We can actually search off the copy of Toy Soldier, which is a really cool effect. Plus, this card is a walking polymerization, helping us go in for a copy of Dusk Dragon, so we can send a really spicy set card in the extract to the graveyard, so we can summon out a copy of Winda, which is absolutely broken. Basically locking down the opponent so they can only special summon once per turn, but we'll make it so we can only special summon once per turn as well, but that's not that big of a deal, as we've already established our field. We then play a single copy of Quim. Quim is also really good as an additional target that you can search from your deck to your hand off your copy of Toy Soldier. This card is really good because this card is normally special summon. You can send a Fall of Albaz or a card that mentions it from your deck to the graveyard, and if a card leaves the extract except during the damage step, you can target a Fall of Albaz or a monster that mentions it in the grave and special summon it, being able to bring back your copy of your Blazing Cartesia, which is a really cool effect. We then also play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3-of in the deck to basically just stop the opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a 1-of in the build, just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. And then playing a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is definitely a 1-of in the build because we're actually playing 2 different field spells in this build. And this card also helps us get an additional spell card in the graveyard for a copy of Selene. We then play a single copy of Chicken Game. Chicken Game is hilarious to be able to play in the deck. So it basically just lets us draw a card. And this deck is all about drawing cards to help us get to our copy of Toy Box and Magician's Soul so we can perform our main combos of this deck. This card is so powerful in this build to help you just draw a card. We then play 2 copies of Secret Village of the Spellcaster. Secret Village of the Spellcaster is one of the most powerful cards to establish on the field with your copy of Winda, basically locking down your opponent from special summoning except for once, and basically locking them down from spell cards is absolutely broken to be able to do. If you can put a Dragoon on the field as well beside those cards, you're basically just going to win the game, but it's super powerful to be able to use in the deck to be able to basically lock down your opponent, and this card is one of the most powerful floodgates in the game right now, basically just locking your opponent down from spell cards. Then play a single copy of Secrets of Dark Magic. This card is really good as a 1-of in the build to help you basically fusion summon into the exact card that you need. I really like this card in the build, but you only need a single copy. It is a quick play spell, so it does help you go in for your fusion plays during the opponent's turn just in case you need to, but it's amazing in the deck, especially to help you go in for the Dark Magicians. We then play 3 copies of Toy Box. Toy Box is such a powerful card and a card you want to see in your opening hand. This card is amazing because it has 2 awesome abilities that you can actually set from your hand deck or graveyard your copies of your Toy Tank and your Toy Soldier to your side of the field, or you can destroy up to 2 cards in your spell and trap card zone, which is amazing to be able to do. Also, once per turn, when your opponent declares an attack, you can actually send a face down card you control to the graveyard and destroy that opponent's monster, which is a really cool effect to be able to use. But the main purpose of this card is to be able to set your copy of your Toy Tank and your Toy Soldier to your side of the field, so you can use your Magician Souls to send them to the graveyard so they'll bring themselves back to your side of the field, while also letting you draw 2 cards and getting a search of your copy of Blazing Cartesia, which is absolutely broken. We then play 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites searches out our copy of our Illusion of Chaos. I feel like playing 2 copies of Illusion of Chaos and 3 copies of Rites is the correct way to be able to play this deck, because this card just helps you get an additional spell in the graveyard so that you have an additional spell to be able to use with your copy of Selene, so you can get those 3 counters to be able to bring back a spellcaster so you can link climb, which is just really important in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Soul Servant. Soul Servant is really good as a 3-of in the deck as well. This card lets you place a card on top of your deck from your hand deck or graveyard that is Dark Magician, or specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text, except a copy of Soul Servant. Also, during your main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard and draw cards equal to the number of Palladinium monsters, Dark Magician, and her Dark Magician Girl with different names on the field in the graveyard, meaning with this card in this build, you can actually get up to a draw 3 with your copy of Dark Magician, Dark Magician Girl, and Palladinium Oracle Mahai, which is absolutely broken. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Shadow Schism. Shadow Schism is really powerful in this build to be able to play, because this card has a great ability to let you fusion summon a Shadow Fusion monster from your extract by banishing materials from your field or your graveyard, but it cannot attack directly. Then you can send a monster your opponent controls with the same attribute as the fusion summon monster of the graveyard, which we're only ever summoning Winda off this card's effect. And this card is super easy to search off your copy of Apocalypse, because you're basically going to use your copy of your Dusk Dragon to be able to send your Apocalypse to the graveyard, search this card from your deck to your hand, and you're already set up to be able to basically go in for a copy of Winda. I love that about this card. It's super easy to get to. It's such a powerful card to be able to step into Winda, plus a copy of Secret Village of the Spellcaster, and it's very easy to use in this build. We then also play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is amazing in the deck to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. Dragoon is definitely a 1-of in the build, and such a powerful card that this card is a walking negate. It cannot be targeted, it cannot be destroyed. It's such a powerful card. It can pop cards on the field, and it's just an amazing boss monster to help you go into. It's going to be very difficult for your opponent to deal with. Then we have a single copy of the Dark Magicians. The Dark Magicians is definitely a 1-of in the deck, as once per turn if a spell or trap card or effect is activated, you get to draw a card, and if it's a spell or trap, you can set it, and if it's a trap or a quick play spell, you can activate it this turn. And if this card is destroyed, you can special summon both a Dark Magician and a Dark Magician Girl from your hand deck or graveyard, which is why I love playing Dark Magician Girl in this build. Then like a single copy of Dusk Dragon. Dusk Dragon is amazing in the deck, as if this card is fusion summoned, you can actually send a level 6 or higher light or dark monster from your deck or extract to the graveyard, which we're always sending a copy of Apocalypse to the graveyard off this card's effect, so we can search out our copy of Shadow Schism. This card also has the effect that if a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, or excuse me, if a monster is special summoned by your opponent's activated monster effect, you can actually banish this card from your field or grave to be able to special summon a Dogmatica monster from your deck or a Despia monster from your extract, which we can actually summon a copy of Lularath off this card's effect, which is absolutely amazing. We play a sealed copy of Apocalypse. Apocalypse is really good in the deck, but you're only ever sending it to the graveyard with your copy of Dusk Dragon, as this card has the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a shadow card from your deck or grave to your hand, then discard a card, which is amazing to be able to instantly get your copy of Schism, as you're just going to use your copy of Schism to be able to banish this and a dark monster, so you can summon out your copy of Winda. Speaking of Winda, we also play a single copy of Winda. Winda's amazing because it makes so both players can only special summon once per turn, which is absolutely broken in this deck. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is such a powerful card to be able to summon this build because there's so many different bridges to be able to make this card in this build, especially with us actually playing light monsters in the deck now. And this card is amazing because it just spot removes a card off the field. You don't actually have to use a tuner to make this card. If you use light monsters, then secret monsters you control are unaffected by monsters effects activated by your opponent. If you use dark monsters, your opponent or monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle, which is great to be able to establish this card using dark with your copy of Winda on the field. You can play a single copy of Despia and Lularath. This card is just so powerful. It boosts your opponent or boosts your monster's attack once up by 500. It's really powerful to be able to summon off your copy of Dusk Dragon. Just an awesome card to be able to play in the deck. And then a single copy of Daigusto Emerald. Daigusto Emerald is just really good to help you bring back your copy of Dark Magician back from the graveyard, as you can actually detach your material from this card to target a non-effect monster in the grave and special that target back to your side of the field. It's very easy to summon out to your side of the field by just using your copy of Toy Tank and Toy Soldier to be able to make this card when you summon them out to your side of the field. It's pretty good to be able to bring back Dark Magician to your side of the field, especially if you have like a Timaeus in the hand to be able to go in for Dragoon, but it's just amazing to be able to play in the deck. And then play a single copy of Access Code to be able to make an absolutely massive boss monster to help you go in for game. Plus, this card can pop multiple cards on the field. Play a single copy of Appaloosa because it's awesome to be able to make this card on your side of the field for multiple monster negates. One copy of Selene so we can basically link climb. This card helps out a lot in the build and is really good in the deck overall. One copy of the Dark Charmer, very easy to make in the deck and helps you link climb as well, especially if you're running as a dark monster in the grave. One copy of SP Little Knight. You can play a copy of Nightmare Phoenix or Unicorn in the deck instead of this card if you don't have this card, but it's really good to be able to play in the deck if you do have this card. Then play a single copy of Cross Sheep because we do fusion summon a lot in this build, and this card helps you bring a monster back from the graveyard to your side of the field, so you can link climb into a copy of Appaloosa or even a Selene, which is just amazing to be able to do. And then finally play a single copy of Artemis. Artemis is just really good to be able to work with a copy of Magician's Rod, and overall a fantastic card. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Dark Magician deck before, especially with the toy engine in it, you should definitely give this build a try. I absolutely love this deck. It's really fun to be able to play, and it's absolutely crazy how powerful the toy engine is in this build to be able to use with your copy of Magician's Soul. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next so you can become part of the notification squad. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.